Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we will be playing the somethingth part. I didn't update. Of Super Lesbian Animal RPG.
I'm not going to let this continue until you say what part it is, and I'm not going to tell you what part it is because if I do, you won't learn.
The funny thing is, I won't learn anyways. This will be the fifth part, and it's covering the last little bit of plot before you get to the side stories, and then all of the side stories. But before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week?
My week was good.
My week's been interesting, I suppose.
Expound on that.
Okay.
No.
Well, yesterday my parents finished driving cross country and reached me, and so we unloaded all my shit into the garage. So I have my stuff now.
Nice.
I have to unpack it and move it up, including my dresser, which is the only big furniture thing, but I still am not looking forward to carrying that upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But also I spent today, they basically were so tired coming in afterwards, yesterday, they came in, we unloaded stuff, and they just went to their campsite to sleep, which is fair. They did drive from, Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm.
So today, me and my girlfriend went over to their campsite and hung out, because they briefly met Marie in person, but that was Marie happened to be visiting Portland while we were in, they live in Oregon. So, let's drive over and hang out at a diner for a little bit, which is different from visiting in a homey campsite area and playing cribbage for 4 hours. So it was nice. It was a really good time. It's good seeing my parents. I'm the rare trans girl who has a really good relationship with her parents. But yeah, things were good. Besides that, just been made a decision in my reading habits that has led me to start really digging into a fandom that I haven't touched a ton in a while, and it's making my creative juices in that fandom start to flow again, and I'm like, oh no. Well, this is a thing. And me posting about it on Tumblr led to me being invited to a Discord about it. So I'm like, well, this is just going to be a self-fulfilling, this is going to be a positive feedback loop, but I don't care. The fandom in question is Ranma 1/2, because
Oh, nice.
I can't be more stereotypical if I tried.
Yeah, we are playing the Super Lesbian Animal RPG right now, which is probably one of the transist RPGs we could play, and it's your auto by RPG, and now you're into Ranma 1/2 again. So yeah,
Which is a
checking
show
all
I
the
live
boxes.
checking all the boxes. That's like it was one of the first anime I ever got into when it came to just I've learned what anime is. I'm gonna go on the internet and watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna watch all 161 episodes of this show multiple times. Huh? What do you mean you think this is gonna awaken something in me? I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, my week has been interesting. So a lot of things have coincidentally happened to line up to make me think I might want to make a video game again, which is hard and stupid, and I shouldn't do it, but I should definitely do it. I matched with this girl on OkCupid who's a game dev, and we were just shooting game dev shit. And then I am reading Higurashi with Summer for spooky season. We're trying to finish all of it by Halloween, and so has me thinking of it was just one guy who made a very popular video game, and now he's making a Silent Hill. And then we're playing a RPG Maker game right now, and I just played several others for the JRPG canon, and I'm like, man, I might want to make one and just make it be bad, and just make a bad one that's fun instead of trying to make a good one. 'Cause good ones are too hard, and and I get too stuck on making it good instead of just making it fun. So I don't know. We'll if you never hear from this again, this is because I have ADHD and this is a flight of fancy that hit me today and will be gone tomorrow. But it's been on my mind all day today. But yeah, other than that, this week has been one of the other things that lined up was I played Pathfinder this week, so I was thinking very crunchy, numbery RPG stuff. Yeah. Got a new cat castle for my cat. She seems to like it, which is very good for her. She doesn't usually like cat castles, so that's about it. I feel like something else happened this week, but I literally have no idea what it could be. So instead of trying to think about that, I'm going to instead segue into talking about Super Lesbian Animal RPG right now.
Are we just not going to do my week?
Yeah, right?
You said that your week was cool, and I thought that was your whole bit, that like you weren't going to go into it. But yeah, tell me about your week. The way you said it sounded like it's fine and I don't want to go into it, but we can go into
No,
your
it was
week.
good. I said it was good and I meant it.
Okay. How was your week? Good.
So I've been getting back into doing creative stuff. I currently have a job that I've been at for a couple months and I do not like it at all. And I think having a job that I dislike this much has pushed me to being like, oh, I gotta actually start doing the creative stuff that I like to do again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just losing my mind here and I've got to do things that make life worth living. So I've been working on my visual novel again. I had for a while fallen off working on it because it's hard to work on a game when you are tired all the time and have work all the time and all that stuff, but I'm working on it now and it's going really well and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm also doing some other creative stuff just for fun, and it's been really fun.
Awesome. I'm super happy for you because I always like to either have a job that I love and I don't mind working all the time, or a job that I can stand enough to then be able to do creative stuff outside of work, and having the creative stuff to offset the shitty job. I hope goes super well for you and gives you a lot of gumption to do the creative thing.
The only problem is that because of insurance stuff, I haven't been able to see a psychiatrist for a while, so I have had to ration my ADHD medication, and I found that I will just go completely insane at work if I don't have it, because of just the way my job is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm even with rationing it a lot and not using it on weekends and stuff, I'm gonna run out before I can see a psychiatrist again. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Sounds horrible. And I hate that for you. But yeah, you know what's not horrible? Super Lesbian Animal RPG. So now for real this time, let's segue into talking that after this brief musical interlude.
After last time, where the goddess of magic challenged the entire planet to a fight to see if they deserved to not get reset out of existence, the parties decide to train with Zinnia, a dragon woman who has a past with Queen Verena. She splits up the party into two groups to search the woods for dragonberries. They immediately settle into the expected parties, Melody with Allison and Claire with Jody, but Zinnia objects, instead teaming them up with Melody Claire and Allison Jody. The area is snowy and cold, though, so Claire uses a spell she prepped with the party previously, magically changing them into winter clothes. Except for Jody, because she claims that she does not need them. With each bush of berries you find, you get more dialogue of those two characters talking through what's been going on with them. At first, Melody doesn't really want to talk about what's happening with Allison to Claire, but after some more berry picking, she opens up. Melody frames Allison's interest in quitting as being entirely due to Melody's weakness, something Claire doesn't think sounds accurate, but she's also feeling too crappy about being responsible for everything going on to really push back too hard. As much as I would love to, I am not going to go play by play for the entire direction of all their conversations, but after some fun bonding moments between them, and a bunch of ice sliding puzzles along the way, they approach the summit for the final berry bush. Claire offers to go ahead and get it, but trips on a root and hurts her ankle. Melody offers to heal it, and while that happens, they really get into it. Claire launches into a self-negative spiral, apologizing for everything she's done that she thinks has hurt Melody, even blaming herself for the fight with Allison. Instead of directly challenging any of that, Melody just affirms their friendship, saying that while it can be hard sometimes for her to talk to Claire because of how their personalities intersect, it's obvious that Claire cares about her. They each also verbalize the fact that they're the only trans friend the other has in real life, and that's important. They have to look out for each other. I'm honestly missing so much detail in this gloss over. I will be covering it later in the analysis. Please don't don't worry. But just please play this game or look up a video of this scene. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, eventually the injury is healed, and this talk gave Melody an idea. Maybe there is something they can do about Queen Verena, after all. But we'll have to wait to hear about it. They head back to Zinnia, and from there we cut over to the other group. At first, it seems like Alice and Jody aren't going to have as much of an emotional time as the others. They just do silly things, like Allison eating some raw berries for dumb reasons, joking about how Jody's the only one between them who can cook, but eventually the subject of the fight with Melody comes up. The way Allison sees it, she's put way too much pressure on Melody lately. It's all her fault that her girlfriend has had multiple breakdowns on their adventure. She hates the idea of Melody hurting and it being all because of her actions. Being the emotional rock that she is, Jody comforts Allison, making it clear that no matter what her brain is telling her, there's no way Melody hates her now. Later, after some ribbing about the way Jody is just enduring this cold weather instead of taking proper precautions, the Tiger Girl obliquely references Faith being upset with her, but not wanting to talk about it with Allison, thinking she can handle her own problems. There's no need to burden anyone else with them. That thing I said before about her being a rock, well, apparently Jody's actively trying to be that for the team, to her own detriment. The next bush, Jody asks Allison why she even joined the guild. For Jody, it was so she could be a knight without joining the Paladin Brigade, fearing the issues that could come from working with her girlfriend. It's up to you why Allison joined the guild, though I went with the low-hanging fruit and said it was because of her mom. The great part is, all the options definitely feel true to Allison's character. It's more that what you're choosing to focus on in that moment. And no matter what you pick, eventually she rambles on the topic and runs into the fact that it does just kind of come down to adventuring being a better way to earn money than the shitty job she had. After collecting the last berries, they decide to build a fire and chill for a bit, since Jody is really not handling the cold as well as she was pretending she was. As they relax, Allison asks Jody why they broke up, which is the first time we as an audience have ever heard of them dating, aside from a brief reference to an amicable breakup Jody had in Act 2. She's scared that she'll repeat the same mistakes with Melody, but Jody assures her this is not the same thing. They were two teenage lesbians who were internet friends, suddenly in the same town, so dating seemed like a good idea. It didn't work out. Melody and Allison have known each other for most of their lives. Their bond is already so strong, even if their relationship has just started. When prompted, Allison talks about how she feels about Melody. She's someone that makes her feel safe, someone Allison never has to feel like she has to impress. Jody decides to talk a little about her own relationship issues with Faith. They're low-key, not something the friend group ever really knows about, but their lives are a little incompatible sometimes. Faith is constantly busy, and though they love each other, sometimes making time for each other is hard. But they've learned how to communicate better, to navigate their issues more smoothly. Relationships take work, and Jody trusts Melody and Allison to make theirs work. If Melody wants space, maybe Allison should just give it to her. Anyway, enough emotional honesty. There's a scary sound nearby. They go to investigate, and it's Paula. She's on a rampage, and something is clearly wrong with her. She wants a rematch, and she's finally willing to say why she has it out for Allison. She's a cheater. Paula knows about the magic ritual, has known this whole time, and now she has been empowered by magic too, directly from Verena. Despite warnings from Allison about how dangerous getting a magic boost like this can be, the fight starts. While Paula is certainly powerful, before you can even defeat her, she collapses, having a bad reaction to all the mana pumped into her system and passing out. Rather than leaving her to freeze to death, they take her to Zinnia, who purges her system of all the excess mana. I just realized my note there is incorrect. It is Melody who purges her system of the excess mana, but still. The mana poisoning here was so severe it could have killed her. When Paula wakes up, she's finally going to make it clear what exactly is motivating her. Namely, she's a conservative asshole. Wait, no, I'm sorry. What I meant to say is she believes in a meritocracy and feels that anyone who gets a boost in the world because of their magic is cheating, and getting magic given to you via ritual is even worse. She thinks that all the unfairness in the world is caused by worthy people like her being kept at the bottom of society because of lazy people using magic to cheat ahead of her. This actually helps Allison understand her. She knows the soul-numbing feeling of working at a shitty job under capitalism, but she also calls Paula out on her bullshit. Her worldview is nonsense, the kind of thing that's built around the idea that everyone in the world has to prove their worth except for Paula, because she has natural talent. Being told off doesn't actually do anything, though, as Paula just teleports back to Verena's hideout, shouting, I'm not owned," at the top of her lungs. That is a joke, she does not say that, but that is absolutely the feeling. After that, Melody and Allison have a moment of together alone. Melody was impressed by Allison's words to Paula, but she's also still frustrated. They both apologize for how things went on the beach, and after the time and space they've both gotten, things have started to settle. Melody needs more time to properly work through how she wants to discuss their issues, but for now she's just happy to be with Allison and work together like before. They could kiss again!
Yay.
Yes, I missed the buffs and nothing else. That's an obvious lie. And when Melody is ready to talk, Allison will be there to listen. Speaking of listening, Melody has a plan. And what is that plan? We find out, but only after a cutaway. We switch over to a more visual novel style of interface, where we relive Verena's first encounter with Reverie from her own perspective. Turns out she'd been traveling through space for a while before that, getting bored of the cosmos, before finally finding an interesting habitable planet and meeting Zinnia. But before we can get more, she wakes up on her throne. Verena talks to Paula about her defeat, curious why the Novas didn't finish Paula off, instead healing her up and taking care of her. Now we get to control Verena as she wanders around her own base. She goes to talk to Javis, who is working on finishing up the final plans for the dungeon. So Verena decides to go for a walk, by which I mean she teleports around the planet to various locations we've been to. Eventually, she heads to Uncanny Valley, to the ruins there. It's too much for her, and she breaks down sobbing over the trauma. Javis appears, making sure to dispel any idea that the people of this planet are worth saving, manipulating her to focus on the pain of the past rather than a hope for the future. Back with the others, Melody shares her plan. They should be the ones to face Verena, after all. Something we as players are unsurprised by, because this is a JRPG. How could we not fight God? But more than fighting, they should talk to Verena. Reaching her isn't impossible. They can try and make her see that this plan isn't right, that Reverie it deserves another chance. It's not a great plan, but everyone agrees it's probably their best shot. They have time before the challenge, though, so they can go around and do other shit in the meantime. Zinnia gives them a key, one that can open all those pink doors we've seen throughout the world, and one of which is specifically pointed out because there's a spell there that is needed to progress to the final dungeon. But before we do that, there's a lot of side quests to do, including one for each party member. Starting by backwards order with Jody, if you go and talk to Faith, Jody sees the immense stress her girlfriend is under, what with the world ending and all, and whisks her off on to a beach date. While on their date, Jody wants to barbecue for their lunch, which involves catching fish with her bare hands, partially because Faith just enjoys watching that. And for those battles, Faith joins you. After getting as much meat as you want to get, Faith tries to cook it herself, but immediately burns it all because she's a terrible cook. More than any of that, the two talk. They're both the type to put so much on themselves while ignoring their own needs for the sake of others. And because of that, they need each other for help on occasion. But they also each need to respect that they can't always just magically solve all the other's stresses. After this little date, Jody learns a new skill, which allows her to summon Faith to put up a barrier for the whole party. For Claire, you have to go and talk to Beverly. Over at Higgledy Piggledy's, they've been a bit busy, and she wants Claire to help out a little. You get to play waitress, and it's up to you if you want to be nice to these demanding customers or live out your fantasy of telling a customer to go fuck themselves. In the end, one particular customer is so rude they force Claire to get Beverly, since they want to speak to the manager. That turns out to have been a bad move, because when they insult Claire to Beverly's face, the normally kind beyond belief woman throws the person out of the restaurant, pissed off on her behalf. They talk privately afterwards. Claire is amazed at just how kind Beverly can be to everyone all the time, especially to Claire herself, since she feels like she doesn't deserve it. Beverly doesn't agree. She thinks the world of Claire, and with all the praise, it gives Claire the courage to finally admit her feelings and ask her out. Turns out Beverly has been crushing on her back and flirting with her for ages, so she happily agrees. And now Claire can summon Beverly in for a quick kiss during a fight. Now, as for Melody's side quest, that's kind of an interesting matter. You see, you get an entirely different side quest here depending on what type of paladin you are. As a resilient paladin, oh my god, is it resilient paladin? I'm not remembering if that's the term or not.
I don't know.
I certainly don't know.
It's the confidence-based one. That's the paladin I'm playing as. You undergo special training with Holly, Province, and Rhett, by which I mean you fight them in a wrestling ring. It's very cool, but honestly, there's not much story content to it. Though, hot damn, is it nice to kick Province's ass after her holier-than-thou attitude she's had this entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sam, Bernard, what were your side quests?
I didn't do mine because I didn't finish playing because I was constantly distracted by stuff and weirdly tired, and you're not my boss.
I am never going to find out what the Woodland Paladin side quest is. I'll
finish. I'll play it, and we can talk about it next week or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd like, I would appreciate that because I'm just so curious.
Yeah. You also, if you have been doubling your saves, I haven't, but if you've been doubling your saves, if you have a save from right before you go out to do your side quests, you can talk to Zinnia and change your paladin to the other kind and go and do that quest instead. So you don't have to replay the whole game. You can just redo the last little bit. Yeah.
I was not aware of that feature. That's exceptionally cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So
but
for
you did the Amorous Paladin one, which is the one I did my first playthrough.
Yes. So for the Amorous Paladin, Zinnia is like, oh, you should go talk to Beverly because Beverly knows what's up. So I go to talk to Beverly and then have to do Claire's side quest first. So then I do Melody side quest, and Beverly is like, well, you attached it to your love for Allison, and y'all have been in a rough patch lately. So we're going to throw y'all the best date ever, so that you can rekindle your romance and level up as a paladin that way. And so they have a romantic nighttime candlelit picnic, except it's in the middle of the day and the nighttime is just an illusion. And Claire and Jody and Beverly are like fighting off the monsters because they're in the woods and the monsters are everywhere. And so Beverly keeps like popping into existence because she walks into the illusion to be like, oh, hey, let me get you your water and I'll be right back. Sounds like they need me out there, and then disappearing. And the date itself, like everything Beverly and the girls are doing, is a shit show and not working. But Melody and Allison are talking a lot and like having a great time regardless. And so eventually partway through, they're like, you know what? Thanks for everything, but I think the thing that we're enjoying the most is just talking to each other and not the rest of this. Oh wait, Beverly, you did this on purpose, right? You wanted us to realize that all we need is each other and we don't need big fancy dates. And Beverly's like, no, I was trying to give you a great date and everything went wrong. But I mean, hey, chalk it up as a win, I guess. And so they go home and they watch TV together and just hang out, and they talk about their feelings. And I don't remember the very particulars, but
that happens actually no matter which of
okay, cool.
of the side quests you do. It does end with them eating takeout and watching TV.
Dope.
Where basically the summary of that is that each is feeling better able to clarify how they were, what their insecurities they were struggling with that caused that earlier fight. And they're each able to now, because of that, give the comfort the other needs. They had a fight, and they'll probably have more, but they love each other, and they'll always try to work it out. Before I get to Allison's side quest, which is the meatiest one so by far, I'm going to touch on a few smaller ones. You can work with the Deer Magician in Uncanny Valley to talk to the Dream Knight, a figure who's been frozen in time in the astral plane, though doing so requires fighting off some astral spirits. Turns out the guy is doing this voluntarily, as without someone there to stabilize this section of the astral plane, it would be dangerous and wild, unsafe for people to travel through. For coming in and helping him, though, he gives you an astral bell, which will allow you to teleport to the astral plane from anywhere, which is very useful.
Unless you do it as your very last side quest, like I did. And now there's no point for me to fast travel because I'm at the end of the game.
The other one I wanted to talk about involves the keeper of the settlement inside the Uncanny Valley. Not only is their sanctuary a lot more full than it normally is because of all the monster activity, but all of that monster activity caused some of their animal friends to run away. You can find those critters as key items in places all throughout the world, and for every 2 you find, you get a special piece of equipment specially designed for one of the characters. They're neat! I especially enjoy the Melody one because it's bringing up like, oh, here's these spiked bracelets. It feels like you have a lot of untapped rage, Melody. And it makes her a little uncomfortable because it reminds her of Harmony. Anyway, on to the final side quests. For that, you gotta go to Mumford, where Neff is angry at the fact that no one else seems to be curious about where they all came from. See, all the undead just woke up like this, with no memories, and Neff wants to go back to where they were found, even if it is full of the most dangerous robots on the island. The party agrees to help, and they're joined by Ipsy, the zombie goblin tech girl, and Allison's mom. This whole thing about her being Mumford's savior of Mumford, well, it turns out that she was exploring and found the place, found all these people in tubes, and got them out. She seems a little awkward when they praise her for it, though. As you dig into the dungeon, Allison is forced to confront again and again just how badass her mom is, making her wonder why she's even there. Along the way, you can find a spellbook in a chest called Reaper, which makes the entire party immediately recognize how rancid its vibes are. They end up deciding to hold on to it, mostly because Claire argues it's safer in their hands than anyone else's. And if you go back and talk to a spellbook shopkeeper who is clearly evil herself back in the Uncanny Valley, you get a special conversation after you found this book. It's neat. I love stuff like that. Anyway, after a lot of conveyor belts and stuff, your actions wake up the AI that used to run this facility. It summons up a hologram of a wizard to block your path, which is literally just a stock image of someone in a wizard costume. But it's a fake boss with just 1 HP. By the time you get to the real boss, you find that the others, Allison's mom included, have all been trapped in pods, completely helpless to escape. As it turns out, this entire island is a facility built by the Interstellar Halcyon Corporation, and all the undead people of Mumford were once the employees. They have no memories because they were being reconditioned after a labor dispute, by which they mean a strike. The company resurrected them after their deaths, and thus they hold them in debt for that resurrection to be worked off with labor, doing system repairs on the island while it creates cryptocurrency. This entire island is just one giant crypto mining scheme. After defeating the AI in a really difficult Final Fantasy style boss fight and rescuing the others, Allison talks to her mom privately about her insecurities. Turns out her mother doesn't see herself the way Allison does at all. She wasn't trying to be a hero when she found all the people of Mumford. She was just plundering for treasure and did the decent thing. That's all a good adventurer really is, someone who stumbles into messes and does their best. And sometimes that means feeling like an imposter. She makes it clear just how much she thinks of Allison's accomplishments so far, and even gives her the gem that goes with the Zircon saber that Claire gave Allison in the first dungeon. Now it's a badass magic lightning sword.
Dope.
Aside from that lovely resolution to a character arc, Neff at least feels better now, knowing that whoever she used to be, she was someone who stood up for herself and fought against oppression, for her and for others. She doesn't know if she's going to tell anyone else, but no matter what, she's glad that the party helped her learn the truth, and she's very grateful. There is more you can do besides that, like helping Jodie forge a special shield, or defeating Javis's 4 sons as optional mini-bosses, but that's enough side content for one episode. Next time, we will head to Mount Sappho and confront Queen Verina.
Dope. So right now, let's listen to some SLRPG music and then talk about our memorable moments. So speaking of Javis's fucking kids, I am currently working on my third one of the 4, and the first 2 were really awesome, hard, but like good boss fights. I did not Killer Ray, I did Roy first, and he is just kind of hard. Like, I don't even think he had like a gimmick. I think he was just kind of hard. And
Killer Ray? He does.
No,
I mean, he has a gimmick.
Not Killer Ray.
Roy. Oh,
Roy. I don't remember if he has a gimmick. It's not as big of a gimmick as the other 2 I'm about to talk about, if he does have one. Killer Ray's gimmick is that he has a buff that he does every turn that Ikarugas everyone, and if you get either positive or negative, and if you're positive versus positive, you are resistant, and if it's positive versus negative or negative versus positive, it's weak. You're weak against it. So you have to like time your buffs and debuffs and your attacks and stuff based on what he's doing, and it's really fun. And I almost lost immediately right out of the gate because he hits really, really hard, but I was able to get out of the JRPG spiral and stay alive and get it done, and it was great. And then I found Bigby. And fuck Bigby, man. So
fuck him and his hands.
So Bigby is pretty cool on paper. He changes the weather every couple of rounds, and the weather dictates the strength of various elements. And so when it's sunny, fire does extra damage and ice does less damage. When it's freezing, ice does more damage, fire does less damage. When it's raining, lightning and healing do better, and everything else sucks. But he also, just in general, he halves the amount of healing that you can do, and it's like not a status or tied to anything. It just your heals all suck. If I'll do a full revive, which should give 100% HP, it'll give me half HP, and so it's really hard to fucking stay alive. And then he also summons mooks, but these mooks like almost have as much HP as him. They are just as hard to take down as he is, and they cast multi versions of whatever the strong spell is currently, and it is really fucking hard to stay alive. While you were talking, I was doing another one, and I'm cheesing it where I have 3 people with healing things, and I have the beast on Allison, so Allison can poison and burn the whole group every turn, basically, and just make sure that those buffs stay up, and otherwise just everybody heals everybody, so that I can stay alive long enough while the dots kill Bigby because he's fucking hard, and I can't do it any other way.
I definitely agree that he's difficult. I think I lucked out, I guess. I think what helped with me is early on in the fight, I got him frozen,
Yeah,
and I got him in kind of a frozen trap, and so he just didn't get out of it. And so he like eventually did, and he summoned some dudes. But by that point, I was close to killing him anyway.
yeah. You definitely got to do something. He's not as bullshit as Douse is in Tales of Fantasia, but he's getting pretty close. But yeah, other than that, so the thing that makes Allison and Melody leave the fake date, I only noticed because I was looking over my screenshots. I only remembered is that so the whole time Beverly's like, all right, bring out the food. Oh, the monsters ate the food. Sorry, we don't have any food. Bring out the water. Never mind. There's water. There's a monster in the ice chest. Give me a second. I have to get you some fresh water. And then at the end, Beverly's like, all right, bring out the Cupid. And Claire lowers down on a rope from the sky, dressed as Cupid, and Melody and Allison are like, "Yeah, we're just gonna leave," and that's the end of the scene, and it's great.
The only one of Javs' sons that I fought was Clinton, and
Clinton's so good.
That was a really fun fight.
He immediately does a status effect that's basically just this fight ends in 15 turns. You die in 15 turns or something like that.
Yes,
that's cool.
And he just poison.
Yes, and poison, and also he can hit you with sleep, which is really nasty when you're trying to beat him fast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really impressed by how well balanced this fight was, because I sure did beat him on turn 15.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dang! Yeah, I went and did the Javis bosses, son bosses after grinding a bit, so I was near the level cap, and I hit the level cap after like the first one.
Yeah.
So
I'm not close to the level cap.
I hit it, which is definitely helpful for all of these. Also, I went and plundered a bunch of those special Zinnia doors, which I heavily recommend do looking for all of those because they have some incredibly boss loot. Maybe my favorite ones specifically, I really love really interesting, unique accessories. Like we've talked about the powerhouse pin in previous episodes and the interesting thing that creates, but there's two more similar that you can find here. One of which makes it so that whoever you equip it to can replace the spell book slot with just a second weapon.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I love that one.
And then there's another one called the I think I can't. It's something in the fashion related.
Yeah,
And
the Fashionista's emblem or something like that.
Yeah, the fashionista emblem, which makes it so whoever you give it to has no restrictions basically on what they can equip, which is so I haven't played with it yet, but I'm so sure that like if I decide to play with that, I'm just like I just look at how often I have to heal Claire because she has no defense, and I'm just like, man, wouldn't it be great if I could force Claire to wear plate armor?
Also, there is a helmet slot item that you can find, which is a wizard hat, which is really good stats, and also it boosts your MP by 100. However, the flavor text says Claire already has a cool hat, so you can't equip it on Claire, even though that would be the obvious person to equip it on, which I think that's neat.
Have you seen the second half of that thing yet, Bernard?
I guess not.
So Noelle, the one that has the critters everywhere, if you one of the critters, the rewards you can get is a tiny wizard hat that fits underneath Claire's really cool hat. So it's gives you all of the buffs for that, but Claire will wear it because she can put her regular hat over it.
Nice.
And I love
it. It's so good because the whole game, half of the head slot items are stuff that you could wear while also wearing a hat, because that's the only stuff Claire will wear. She refuses to wear anything that would obstruct her hat, which so I gotta love those principles. Oh gosh. Getting into my stuff, the whole section with Melody and Claire I just kind of adore. It's so much great stuff there. I've talked about this before with this game. It's just I have a hard time thinking of another piece of media even where there will be not only just true trans characters in the cast, but where they will have a conversation late in the story about just like the fact that their bond as friends is kind of unique because they are each other's trans friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good scene. And also I just find the psychology of Claire kind of fascinating as you get more and more into it in that section,
Mm-hmm.
because it starts to, and I might be completely just seeing something that isn't there, but it really starts to feel to me like Claire has been trapped in this headspace of if someone is at fault for something, they are not allowed comfort, and they're not allowed to show that they're not feeling good or that they're having problems, because they deserve everyone to be upset with them. Which is why she's constantly avoiding any responsibility for her mistakes, because once she has accepted and admitted, yeah, this is all my fault, she spends all of this time being like, why aren't you guys yelling at me? Why
Mm-hmm.
are you like, why are you being so nice? Like, Melody, you're too nice. You're not being like, and Melody just being like, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of mad at you, but we're friends and I'm not going to take that out on you. And just how like it seems like just how foreign of a concept that is, and what glimpses we get like of how Claire talks about it, of like what her home life was like, that may have instilled this sort of mindset in her. I just really enjoy digging into that because I was not raised with that kind of mindset, but I have known too many people who their brain on some level just works on the blame game,
Mm-hmm.
and if they're to blame for something, then they're a monster and everyone should be upset and yell at them. And I'm like, no, actually the world doesn't work that way. Stop it. I also really like the reveal of Allison and Jody used to date, because I was actually like watching for my notes. There's a Let's Play I've been watching to kind of refresh my memory, especially in this case where it's been like 2 weeks since I played a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
The section where that reveal comes up, the someone on the Let's Play was talking. I did really like this idea of like, this is like, at this point this story is just such high stakes. This is literally the end of the world stakes, and this twist is such a like nothing personal twist that isn't a twist to the characters, it's just to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it does kind of like throw you for a loop a little bit, or at least it has a lot of people, me included, because it is like a just like, it kind of shifts how you see these characters. And if you go back and look at their interactions throughout the game, it does add a little bit of interesting depth knowing that they did have this past together.
Want to know the craziest part about that?
Yeah.
I missed it. When you said that they used to date it during recording right now, I'm like, oh, I must not have been paying attention when that happened.
You really must not have, because it was an entire scene of them
It was an
talking
entire
about their
scene.
relationship.
Yeah, but I must have missed like the beginning part of it where it established that the antecedent to all of these pronouns, it was Allison, and I like can conceptualized it as it was Faith or something, because I just missed it somehow. I don't know how it happened, but I missed it.
And besides all those other things, the only other kind of things I had was also in the Melody Claire stuff. There's a point when Claire's talking about, the way her life went, which is very relatable in many ways. But my favorite one is just the it feels like everyone else got an 18-year head start on me, and like that is too much of a mood. Like, especially when you are trans, and it does feel like, oh, everyone else just got to like grow up this way, and I had to fucking wait until I was an adult and go through this, and now I have to figure myself out. God damn it. Less seriously, but just one of my favorite jokes in the game is in this section. When you're in Uncanny Valley, if you go up to, at the very front area, there's this big block that you can later hit a switch and it turns into a set of stairs to allow for easier back travel. But if you go up before that and just examine it as a block, there's a little conversation where Allison's very like, why would someone do this? Why is there just a big cube here? And Claire is just like, oh, you just don't understand what being a wizard is about. Every wizard wakes up every morning relishing the fact that their most inconsequential decisions will mystify people for hundreds of years. And I just love that joke so much because it is just like, yeah, that's the wizard vibe. That's very strongly the wizard vibe.
Also, I liked the idea of wizards in this world are into cubes instead of orbs.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just like Uncanny Valley is full of a lot of fantastic side characters who just show up for that section.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just love the character designs in this game so much, and there's so many good ones.
Oh, I also love, speaking of Uncanny Valley side characters, Fauna, the magician that helps us talk to the Dream Knight, is a magician, as in does toddlers' birthdays, because it advertises themselves as a magician and not a wizard, and so their payment is just, please let me do some real magic. All I've been dealing with is sweaty toddlers for year after year, which is good.
It's so good. It's also, Fauna's just so dramatic and kind of creepy looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very good. It's very good. And I'm so sad because next week we're going to play the last section, which on the one hand I'm excited because it has my favorite moment in the entire game, but also I'm going to be very sad because we're going to have to stop talking about this game.
Mm-hmm. Another thing about this game, so we don't have to stop talking about it right now. More cool RPG Maker stuff. So,
there's so much cool RPG Maker stuff in this section.
So, weather is not a thing in RPG Maker. You can't just cast Rain Dance to change the weather. So, how Bigby does it is he casts a buff spell that puts the buff on everybody of it's sunny, so now you are weak to fire and strong to ice and things like that. They do so much with buffs and debuffs to make the game a lot deeper than RPG Maker VX lets you be, and it's so cool.
It's extremely cool. Also, actually, aside from the narrative of it, the split up section is really interesting in how they split up, not just because those pairs of characters were really fun to have together and it led to some really great conversations, but also the combat challenge it presents of like Melody and Claire is a very, it feels like unless Melody is constantly healing Claire, the fight can turn bad very quickly. And then you have Allison and Jody, and as they put it at a certain point, like they bring up like, wow, I'm really starting to miss Melody's heals.
Yeah. And like, even if you supplement it with like spell books and whatnot,
which I did,
like,
yeah,
both of their magic stats are piss fucking poor. So I'm used to, Melody is going to cast Lovely Aura from the Magical Girl book, and it's going to heal everyone up to full. Now, Jody, it's your turn. And Jody is like, I healed 67 HP for both of us. Good
Jody
luck.
is so bad at magic. Oh, gosh. I love this game. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, there's also a fun mimic. There's also a fun mimic bit in this one again.
I didn't find it.
It's in the early in the Melody and Claire bit. You could go up and find a mimic, and if you do and talk to it, the mimic's just it does the thing again of like entering a battle with a mimic, and the mimic goes, "Oh wow, it seems like you two are really going through something right now. I feel kind of awkward. I'm just gonna leave."
Yeah, I think I found that one last week. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, there's I think we talked about it post recording last week, but the cryptic cryptid I love so much as a dumb Bigfoot joke. With an even better bestiary entry.
Yeah, this game is dope, and I'm gonna be real sad when it's over. But then I won't be sad because we'll be playing my games next, and I'm real excited for both of them.
I'm so excited. Thank you for. I can't. The fun part of me being on this podcast is there's so many JRPG franchises I've never touched, and now I'm like, yay! Everyone's gonna get to hear my uninformed first thoughts on these.
Yeah, you get to be baby fresh eyes on so many of these. So yeah, as it currently stands, Wild Arms 5 is in the lead with 5 votes, and Star Ocean 4 is not with 2 votes. So it's a percentage-wise resounding victory for Wild Arms 5 currently, but the number of votes is still small. So if you really want to hear us talk about Star Ocean 4, you can do so by heading over to the web and going to www.rpgbook.club, where if you make any donation, you should be able to access the form to cast your vote. And all donations go towards helping us run the show, keep the lights on, those sorts of things. If you set up a recurring monthly donation, you'll also get some additional benefits. If you donate $1 or more a month, you will get access to our bonus feed, where we have all of our bonus episodes. This week's bonus episode coming up is our super huge Longcast is Dead celebration JRPG canon episode of Dragon Quest VII. I've been editing it all week. It's like over 3 hours long. It is a wealth of content, and that can be yours for at least $1 a month. If you want to donate $5 or more a month, we will also shout out your name on every single episode, just like this. Shoutouts to Cerebral Wind, It's Claire Time, Frosthair, Dragon Slayer 19, Floris, Kaeldron, Freddy Rodriguez, AA Ron 524, Jfro Prime, and Doho. And then finally, if you love us so much and you want to donate $20 or more a month, you can also make me say a sentence of your choosing to plug something or just to make me say funny words. So shout outs to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out critical-distance.com, an aggregator for games criticism and journalism. Shout out to William Taylor, who wants you to check out rpgamer.com, reviews for people like us by people like us. And shout outs to Vimke, who wants you to play Legend of Legaia. Please, it's like a brawler RPG. It's really cool. It's for the PlayStation, and everyone should play it. And then shout outs to Carr, who's a dentist, so he isn't plugging the website, but rather your own mouth. And he says to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, the time before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye.